A few years ago, the only 3D you'd ever hear about was in movies, where you wear funky glasses and things on the screen looked like they were gonna poke you in the eye. The only time you'd talk about your printer is when it ran out of ink. You know, the ink that costs more than actual blood. Now all you hear about is the combo of the two, 3D printing. You might wonder, who thought this up? Well, wonder no more. Here's Allie Ward.
3D printing has revolutionized industries that require prototyping, manufacturing, and customization. The process, which involves the computerized layering of materials one on top of the other to create three-dimensional objects, has put innovation of all kinds on a fast track. The first 3D printer was invented in the year 1983 by this man, Charles Hull. I visited the tech icon at his office in Valencia, California. At 78 years old, it's been more than 30 years since he founded 3D Systems.
Take me back to the first night when you made your first 3D printed object. What was that like? What was happening?
I'd been working on the process, and finally thought I had it all together. I had designed a test part to print, so I said, let's do a whole print. And kind of pushed the button, started the printer. The way it was programmed, it kind of pops up when it's done. So the part popped up, and there it was, the first 3D printed part.
That night, all those years ago, the first thing Chuck ever printed was an Eyewash Cup. When Chuck showed me a small display of 3D printed objects, I found something extra special.
So you have metal rings and you have toys. And what is this? This looks kind of like the Eyewash Cup.
Yeah, that's actually a replica of the Eyewash Cup.
Is it really?
Yeah, somebody did this, and they scanned the original cup and then printed it. So
it's like a clone.
it's a clone. And it's a clone of the first ever 3D printed part.
The applications are endless now, and the materials that can be used for 3D printing range in the thousands, including plastics, metal, concrete, and photopolymers that are transformed by beams of light, as I discovered about this modern printer.
And what kind of materials does it use?
Well, it uses photopolymers, which kind of by definition, when a light beam hits it, it'll change from a liquid to a solid. So if you carefully move that beam around and manipulate it, you can create the solid you want. And we do it one layer at a time. So these are just thin layers. Kind of imagine, paint drying on the top of a paint can. It's that kind of a thin layer. And then just keep doing that layer by layer until finally the whole part's produced.
So part of your inventing this was figuring out how to draw the design, how to slice that up, and then tell the laser to do all of those layers.
Correct.
Of all the applications of 3D printing, Chuck says he's most excited about its use in medicine. When you consider this single invention and its infinite applications, from musical instruments to the silver screen to space, it's not an overstatement to say it's mind-boggling.